then moving on from your Indian experience, let's move on to when you landed in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Uh,
Yes,
when did you move to Saudi Arabia?
it's been 7 years now. I think so.
Mhm.
It's been, I think, 5 to 6 years before. I got
Mhm.
an opportunity through one of my friend. He sent me a WhatsApp
Mhm.
message that one consultant group is hiring chemical engineers or production engineers. You can
Mhm.
try on that. He told me that there is a Jordanian manager who's been arriving, interviewing with many of the candidates.
Mhm.
So I went for that. I have given some interviews, and he liked my knowledge and my ability to work. And the great thing was that he was not sticking to one kind of responsibility. He was saying that you have to perform this also, you have to perform this also, you have to, because in Saudi Arabia what happens, there is a high chance that you will land in a job. You have to perform many responsibilities. So one reliever should be there for you
Mhm.
to get your work done. So if I'm going for a vacation to India, there will be a reliever for me. I will explain to his job responsibility, and you have to perform for 2 months.
Mhm.
So like that, he needs that versatility. So the training which I've acquired, it helps me in cracking that interview also, because I know this, I know that, A, B, C of that all division I know. So
Mhm.
he was happy with that, and then I got that opportunity working. So this is how I got
Mhm.
an opportunity in Saudi Arabia,
Amazing.
basically.
That, but still moving to a different country, any country, that tends to be a very big decision for anyone. And normally, moving to a country like Saudi Arabia, where of course you have a completely different language, a very different culture, that tends to be even bigger decision because then you really have to adapt to a very different environment. Just like you said earlier, different work culture, different people. Uh, did you think about any of that before making that decision, or did you feel that this opportunity is great for my career and then you just went with it?
See, actually, my relatives, if you can
Mhm.
say, are already working in Middle East. Okay,
Mhm.
so when I talked to them, I got an brief idea how the work cultures are there.
Mhm.
I took that decision just because Saudi Arabia is the reserves of oil is the largest
Mhm.
globally, if you can
Yeah.
say.
Yep.
So for a chemical engineer, it's like a big market for them for there to work.
Mhm.
Secondly, what I've heard from my relative that the work culture is quite open. You get that backing. I am not saying that India work culture is bad, but I say that in in India, what happens? You are stick to that specific 9 to 5 job,
Mhm.
which I find interesting in Saudi Arabia. Why? Because the work is quite diverse. You can work. You have that talent. You have that capability. You can work in different field also.
Mhm.
So the backing is strong, and it is open to that. So that's the reason why I was aware, because my relative have given me the idea. And financially, even if you say the terms are way higher than any Middle East country. Even if you say UAE, I know it is the hub, but
Mhm.
corporate level it is the hub. In
Mhm.
terms of industrial wise, Saudi Arabia is way above in terms of land, in terms of capacity. So that is the reason why I thought, yeah, we should give it a go, because
Mhm.
I was still learning. I was having not enough of experience. I thought, why not? And if I
Mhm.
am open to so much of diverse work culture, I will able to know what is going on. I
Mhm.
can get more knowledge, meet different people, know how the system works outside.
Mhm.
And this is the closest Asian country. This is the closest near to the Asian country.
Mhm.
And I don't want to explore myself in Western or the Western countries and US. It's my personal thought. I feel that still I need to don't forget my roots.
Mhm.
My roots is in India, and I
Mhm.
don't want to in my future my son or my daughter will forget who stays in India, my relatives and all of that, and I'm suddenly isolated in some other Western country. This is my personal choice. Yani.
Of course,
Maybe
yeah.
some are thinking different. I may be more theoretical, not practical enough. But
Mm-hmm.
I felt that there is a need to connect to my roots. There is no other option other than Middle East to get an
Mm-hmm.
opportunity.
Okay, amazing. But then it seems like you really did put a lot of thought into selecting Saudi Arabia. It was not just at the heat of the moment, but you actually had a lot of you had a lot of thinking behind selecting Saudi Arabia as your workplace. But then in the past 7 years, what different roles have you worked in Saudi Arabia?
See, I was initially in production as a production manager. I worked in purchase as well. I was buying chemicals also. I worked in quality control as well. I have done some research work as also, some approving some chemicals for my factory. So in that 4 to 5 years was really, you are just like working in a university.
Mm-hmm.
My manager, if I've done my work, he doesn't care what I'm doing. So he is very free, he is very open, and he is very, motivated me a lot in that sense. So in that 3 to 4 years, I have learned many things what is happening in coating industry, especially in paint industry, especially what I'm making from raw material to the finished product.
Mm-hmm.
That backing was very strong for me, and I have
Mm-hmm.
handled. See, sometimes what happened, you cannot perform your work properly once you are doing multiple tasks. So that one thing really need to taken care of. But once you are eager to learn, to get more knowledge, you can work. You can
Mm-hmm.
work. There is no limit for that.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It all comes down to how much work you yourself are willing to put in, of course.
Right.
At the end, that your own motivation and your own hard work that tends to win the race, of course. But then, what role are you working in right now, as of today?
See, as of today, I'm working as a technical sales. I'm selling paint chemical raw materials, coating chemical raw materials to customers. Since I have the background of paint manufacturing, I've worked in paint manufacturing. I can really give a solution to customers.
Mm-hmm.
Like this raw material will give you specific type of, the advantage in your production, and you can get this benefit, and what are the value addition you can get. And I can understand the customer problems what they are facing, because I was in that background. I have sit in that chair during my paint manufacturing days. So I'm able to relate the problems. I can able to relate customer solution. I can be able to relate whatever the customer says to me. So it is a win-win situation when you have already been able to handle that position before, and you are giving that extra benefit to that
Mm-hmm.
customer. So that helps me a lot. So I'm doing currently the technical sales business, which is supplying raw materials to all my customers in western region of
Mm-hmm.
Saudi Arabia.
Okay, amazing. It sounds like a great role. But then, how does your normal work day look like? An average day in your life?
See, average day, the initially 2 to 3 hours, you can say
Mm-hmm.
emailing about your pending inquiries or queries or whatever is there. And then you email everything, and then you visit them, meet them. Sometimes sales is such a thing, Hamza, that once you don't have that relationship, or, the communication with your customer, it feels more a robot way. So once you are connected, this is the customer and he needs this, and his behavior pattern is like that. So you are able to mold him in such a way that you can give him what he wants. So that will come when you interact. So visiting gives you a way better idea, so that you can interact more, you can get more information, you can go more knowledge, what he is planning to do, what his next step is. So this is what I do. I 2 to 3 hours I email customers, defining my products, what are my products I'm pitching to them, viscosities, densities, all the chemical terms you put in that email better in a proper way, so that customers have an idea, okay, this is the product he's representing. Then you meet them, and then sometimes you need to do lab work, you do lab work with them.
Mhm.
And then back home, it's over. My 8 to 9 job. This is my 8 to 9 lifestyle right now. Before, what I was doing, sometimes I'm handling production. So I should complete that amount of target batches. So paint or coating batches, I need to complete that. So I will give the rules and responsibility to my operators, explain them what product you have to make, what you have to do after the break, after before the break, how much is the output. The production wise roles and responsibility. And then once the day is over, 1 hour before, he will come and he will explain everything, that this is how we made this and this is how we are left with. Sometimes the target are not achieved, and you have to go it to the next day. So he will give me the update, and in that 8 hours there is some problem, there is some issues, you need to solve it. Maybe it is related to production, maybe it is related to the manpower. Whatever it is, you have to solve it, and then you are done with the day.
Mhm.
So yeah, so the two different jobs I have explained you what I've done.
Mhm. Amazing. So you have had both a field job, like being on the shop floor all the time, and also having a an office job, which is more demanding and more challenging.
See, I definitely feel both are challenging. Both are
Mhm.
challenging, Hamza. Actually, sometimes it's very difficult to have that much of energy and do the same amount of production
Mhm.
sometimes. And the same similar way in sales as well. Sometimes you need extra amount of effort to actually take your car on and go to drive 200 kilometers and to meet one customer and then come back home. So
Mhm.
both are very challenging, I can say. Both are very challenging, and both are, is not easy. You are getting an chemical engineer are an asset to the company.
Mhm.
You can say an
Mhm.
asset. So what asset can do? They need to provide some profits to that
Mhm.
company. So you need to think that way, in
Mhm.
terms of what I can give the value addition.
Mhm.
So once you are stick with 9 to 5 job, sometimes you feel now it's going, let it be, it's going. But no, you have to be proactive. Proactive.
Mhm.
What you need to do to be more, in the in front of the owner, in terms of front of the management, you can prove your capability. So
Mhm.
both are challenging in different ways. Yeah, both
Okay.
are
So
challenging.
amazing. Well, that's quite nicely described. So they're both demanding in their own ways. You have
Yeah.
driving 200 kilometers is just as difficult as being on the production floor every day. So of course, that's fully understandable. Which soft skill and hard skills do you feel that you use the most? For example, for your technical sales job, which skills most come in handy?
See, soft skills, really, I was not aware when I got
Mhm.
the job. I was not good at emailing. You know,
Mhm.
since I was in field in production, I would never concentrate on email. I would write
Mhm.
anything. But once I
Mhm.
got this sales job, my manager who hired me, he taught me how to, be
Mhm.
very good at emailing. Your communication and your emailing should be good. Otherwise, sometimes what happened, there are many engineers, for example, I'm saying, and if you cannot present your thing properly, then it becomes difficult,
Mhm.
Hamza,
Of
because
course.
what will go out of your way, many things,
Mhm.
but how you can describe, how you can present is very important, very important.
Of course.
So that is the soft skill, the communication and emailing. That's what I have learned.
Mhm.
That was not been, in terms of technicality. I've never know that before.
Mhm.
So this is the soft skill. And hard skill. See, hard skill is that you have the technical knowledge which you have to apply.
Mhm.
So practicality, you can say, which is missing in many chemical engineering universities right now. I
Mhm.
don't know about the other, but in India it's missing. In missing, many engineers don't have that practical facility to work, which is very important. Which is very
Mhm.
important. When I landed my training, I was shaking my hand to do any testing
Mhm.
because I am new. I don't know that how the instrument to be run, what test. Reality is the hard skill. You can say do it on your own. Whatever it is, you can do it on your own.
Okay, perfect. And I fully agree. I mean, the practicality application of chemical engineering, that is truly missing in, I would say, not just in India, but probably in all the universities around the globe, because they teach you a lot about the theoretical aspect, but how to actually use it in the real world, that is still missing, and the students are clueless when they go out in the industry looking for jobs. So that is very rightly said. Uh, but regarding communication, and you were very right when you said that communication is key. It doesn't matter how much you know, but it's more about how much you can convey to the next person and make sure that the other person understands it. But I would like to go back to when you were working in production, for example. And there, when you have, because as a chemical engineer, you really have to work a lot with operators, conveying information to them, giving them orders what to do, telling them what to do, and arranging all the problems and so on. How difficult do you feel that it is for a chemical engineer to convey the information back to the operators? Because even though they are technical people, but they don't necessarily have the chemical engineering mindset. Could you speak a little bit about that? Like, how do you feel that the other engineers can really practice themselves or prepare themselves to convey, to tone down the information at times for operators?
Yeah, right, Hamza. That's a good question. Actually, what happens when you're working with operators or laborers, they are not aware. They just
Mm-hmm.
know that this is A, this is B, this is C. Even they don't know ABC also, some of them. So, what really you need to know is when you are working, you need to know what this guy is potential of. We need to understand this guy is capable of how many things he can do, and this guy is capable of how many things he can perform. So what, when you will know this, you will know this when you make a safety meeting, or you make any meeting with explaining this. So you have your senior operators handling your your sum of amount of work which you have. So your senior operators will guide you, sir. This guy knows this much knowledge. Don't deal with him. Don't tell him to do this. He cannot perform. Sometimes you will learn when he do the mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Mistakes happen. It's a human.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot be 100%. Even I am doing some amount of work, I perform some mistakes. It's a human error. So slowly working 1 or 2 months, you are blank. You are just evaluating stuffs. So
Mm-hmm.
after 1 or 2 months, okay, this guy is capable of this. I can only give him this work. He doesn't understand a certain amount of chemical terms. So I will only give him to bring the forklift, take the chemical and just add it. That's it. So you divide when you do the meeting, you do the safety meeting, and you see what amount of so you need to be in that field. You need to know the production aspect of it. That you are working that okay, this guy is doing this guy is doing that production, and he's facing this problem. Why he's facing this problem? Because he doesn't know that. So based on that, you will segregate them, and do the specific amount of duty only.
Mm-hmm.
Even
Okay.
for even if you are doing the quality control work, so quality control work, you need an assistant. You cannot perform every batch quality testing. So there are 2 or 3 chemists under you. You need to know this chemist can perform certain duty, this chemist can only perform certain cannot perform this duty. So you need to know 1 or 2 months, you need to gel up with them. Then you are able to identify, okay, I will give this role to this guy, give this role to this guy.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think so. It will take 1 or 2 months to understand that. Initially, you will
Amazing.
not know. Yeah, initially you will not know. You will perform mistakes. Many mistakes happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's natural. Yeah.
Of course. Yep, of course. I mean, in mistakes, so they are human nature. But that's really amazing about chemical engineering, is that because even though you are working in production, you are not just an engineer working with unit operations and all the calculations, but then you also kind of have to be a people's person, really identify the weaknesses and strengths of the person standing in front of you, and make the informed decision about what to do and what not to do. And that's truly amazing.
Yeah, unit operation, I think so. Whatever I have learned in my university, I
Mm-hmm.
fail to figure out what I will share you, Hamza, that unit operation are a way to bring to bring a product A to B.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But sometimes people forget that unit operation is one of the thing.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is how the A should go to B.
Exactly. Exactly. Mm-hmm.
So, once your chemical, if you are working in a chemical plant, the unit operation is already set up.
Mm-hmm.
So, what you need to learn
Mm-hmm.
about that unit, he is performing that duty unless and until there is scaling, there is falling, or the tray is damaged or something like that. You need to solve that. But the unit operation is already been done. There are some process engineers who have already developed that problem. So
Mm-hmm.
what you have to have that knowledge, basic knowledge, that how to get that product from A to B with all
Exactly.
the difficulties and all the the problems which you face in day to day.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And that is something very rightly said and very interesting because uh, this is many times many chemical engineers actually forget that when you go to the industry, everything is already set up before you came there, right? The production plant is there, the unit operations are there, everything is being produced, everything is optimized. You just have to make sure that everything works as correctly as possible. Following up on that, because now you have had so much experience in so many different sectors of the industry, and you said yourself in the beginning that your real learning came after when you graduated. Uh, Let it be in the Indian company or it be in Saudi Arabia. Looking back, how much of chemical engineering did you actually use in the industry, or did you feel that that was only a stepping stone and the real learning came afterwards?
No, no, no. I think so. Some knowledge are very important. Very
Mm-hmm.
important. And, it should be balanced, completely balanced.
Mm-hmm.
So when you work, you get knowledge which is very different. When you are in university, your knowledge is completely different. There is one good case I will give you an idea that you will be clear about it. Is that once we were deciding a pump, which pump we need to buy.
Mm-hmm.
So mechanical department is not involved in deciding the pump.
Mm-hmm.
So you say and you give him that I need this pump, they will buy and they will install it. So the maintenance department is not involved what need to be buy. So you are the chemical engineer. You need to understand what fluid you are working with first. Second, what will happen if that fluid is working at high temperature, and what will happen in that case. This it will form a air trapping in centrifugal, or it will trap a diaphragm valve. What will happen? So that time you are aware, okay, I need to study my books,
Mm-hmm.
what I need to decide. So you have an interesting books where you select the fluid based on the viscosity and what type of pump it is required.
Mm-hmm.
So the knowledge is
Mm-hmm.
there, but if you can say 40-60 of technical knowledge is used every time your decision is basically based on that knowledge, and
Mm-hmm.
60% is the work which you have to do.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it is important. Knowledge is very
Mm-hmm.
important. Sometimes I think so in that 7 to 8 subjects which we learn, for example, in chemical engineering, I expect from students to at least get basic out of it, not
Mm-hmm.
to learn everything and every aspect of it. So what a book is trying to say, for example, a fluid flow operation, what is trying to say is saying to study the flow of fluid. So what that fluid need to have that property in it to get
Mm-hmm.
involved in that practical application. So the basic of all should be there in your head. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. So you mean to say like the core foundation of your knowledge, that is of course what you get from the degree, but then when it comes to the application aspect of it, how to use it in the real world, that is something that you learn once you go out. But you can't have one without the other, so they go hand in hand, and you have to keep it balanced. you can't uh,
Definitely,
you can't
definitely.
skip the classes and expect to learn everything on the job, because that's not going to happen. That is just
You
a
will
building up
land,
on what you've learned.
you will land the first or second interview, you will land with all the basic question. You don't have
Hmm.
experience. What you have in
Hmm.
your bag, what tools you have is the
Hmm.
knowledge which you study.
Of course.
And they will
Yep.
ask a basic question. Like I said to you, the heat transfer one. Second day, one of the interview, they asked me interesting question that how you calculate density.
Okay. Mhm.
These are the basic questions which we
Yep.
failed in terms of calculation and unit operation. We failed
Mhm.
some basic ideas of what we need to do. So the core is important. You have that tool with you. And
Of
based
course.
on that tool with you, you are into that industry. So if your tool is not, working properly, your screwdriver and all your
Mhm.
tools are not working, how you will perform that drill in
Exactly.
your practical application? Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. You really need to, at the end of the day, because it's not really about your own degree. Anyone can get a degree with the title chemical engineering on it. But of course, it all comes down to the skill set that you have, what it is that you're offering. You can have someone that doesn't have an engineering degree but knows about engineering than you do. So it all comes down to, of course, how much you're willing to work on it and how much you're willing to learn as much as possible. So thank you very much for sharing that. Thank you.
Thank you for listening. And if you have not done so already, remember to become a free member at Chemical Engineering Life. And do not forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel and stay tuned for more upcoming podcasts with chemical engineers. Thank you and have a great day.